Hello, everyone. Welcome to another live video from me at Northern Affinity. Again, we're live across our various platforms, Facebook and LinkedIn specifically. For anyone who's watching this video afterwards, it's going to be on the website and the Northern Affinity website, but also available on our YouTube channel. Now, over the past few weeks and going into months now, I'm sure many of us have spent quite a lot of time on social media. We've all probably been getting various and numerous emails from companies regarding all the situation that's going on. So there's been a lot of things going on in the kind of digital marketing world in the last few weeks, and I'm sure there will be for months to come. We've probably all seen examples where it's been done well and maybe not so well as well. So I'm pleased to say that today with Claire here from Sunshine Digital Media. And we're going to talk about the importance of, I guess, communicating the right message on the right platforms in the right way. For anybody who's watching live, if you do have any questions, there's various ways that you can communicate with us. Just put in a message. We'll try and cover as many of them as we can. And obviously, anyone watching afterwards as well, feel free to put a question in. And I'm sure if it's for Claire, she'll be happy to answer it the best way possible at any time. So yeah, please do give us those questions if you can. So I've got a few questions prepared for Claire, but before we jump into that, I'm just going to hand it over to Claire if you can introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself, and we can go from there if that's okay, Claire.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, everyone. I'm Clare Clifford from Sunshine Digital Media. I'm a digital marketing expert. I've spent, I can't remember if it's 16 or 17 years now in digital marketing. I was there right at the beginning when using social media for business seemed like a bit of a strange and weird thing. And my boss said, give it a whirl, and never looked back, really. I've been working for myself for the past 7 years now. Went freelance and then set up Sunshine nearly 3 years ago now. I'm runner-up Business Mum of the Year.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. I couldn't attend the event. The winner had to attend because my daughter was poorly. I work with a real big range of clients. I've worked with some of the big boys like Boots and First Group, but I prefer working with SME businesses just because I like to see the result that they get. And yeah, I've been working with a lady this week who's set up a flower subscription, a florist, and she sold out within 2 hours of putting it on social media. And I think I was happier than she was. So I'm still buzzing about that.
Oh, that's amazing to see such quick results, I guess, as well. That's
yeah, exactly. She was like, oh, I don't know. I was like, just post, and she did, and yeah, she sold out within a couple of hours, I think it was.
Oh, that's amazing.
The first week.
Yeah, great story. Great story. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess we're in this situation they're in. We're in lockdown. Hopefully, we're getting towards the end. There's going to be something moving forward over the next few weeks. But I was just interested to know how your kind of the digital marketing world has been for you since the situation arose.
Some of my clients who kind of have me on a retainer to completely manage all their digital marketing have put me on hold. But one of my bigger clients is they're an aesthetics clinic. So they literally can't work. So that's understandable. I'm still doing some skeleton posts for them, but there's nothing they can do. So I understand that. But because people are having to pivot the businesses, I've had quite a lot of people come to me to help them get a concept and their pivot out there. For example, the florist, she's a wedding florist. She's now decided to do a weekly bouquet. I'm working with a local deli next week who's going to be doing a bespoke cheese board for delivery plus other things. So people have had to pivot. So I suppose it's helping them get out there. Also a gym instructor, helping her get all her classes online, etc. So it's working on a much faster pace because I'm getting the call on a Thursday, Friday saying, can you get me online? And I've got them online by the end of the weekend. So yeah, it's a lot more juggling because I've got 2 young children, one who's of school age. So my husband's a key worker. So I'm having to juggle quite a lot. But It's getting easier. Getting more. Just about.
Oh, that's really interesting. I mean, like you said, it's really interesting how, it's really interesting how this kind of, like I said, a lot of people are pivoting or changing the businesses model at the moment. So it's so like I said, speed is of the essence. These type of things normally take weeks and months of planning. So it's really interesting. So one thing I kind of touched on in the introduction was kind of your message and tailoring that. How important is that for businesses right now to understand the situation we're in and therefore tailor their message on whatever platforms they are using?
It's absolutely critical for them to do that. Normally, something that I would say to clients is plan. I wouldn't advise planning more than like 4 to 6 weeks in advance, other than maybe like seasonal campaigns. But at the moment, you can't plan that far in advance because your message could be totally inappropriate. So like I had emails for the aesthetics clinic ready to go, and some of them would have just been inappropriate to, life or death brows or something like that. It's just inappropriate at the moment, whereas before it would have been funny and a bit tongue-in-cheek. So and some businesses have got it very wrong as well with their message. So I suppose it's keeping a positive message, but also being honest. If your business is struggling, obviously there's a way of giving that message, but it's okay as well to say that business isn't great at the moment, because I think if everybody carries on social media saying everything's amazing, then it's not the truth, and it's going to make other people think, oh, I'm not doing okay. And you have to as well just make your message very clear. Like I can see a lot of restaurants and things opening back up with a takeaway service, and making it key if you've got any face-to-face contact in your business, how you're going to operate. People want to know that, what measures you've got in place, etc.
I think it's one of the things I've noticed is that one of the few people criticizing various things where the message does not even acknowledge the situation.
Exactly.
I think that's one of the important things for people. It doesn't necessarily have to be too much, even if your business is kind of unaffected. I think you need to understand that other people are affected.
Absolutely.
So that's one of the interesting. So I'd like to.
I'm trying not to touch on it too much with my stuff, but kind of like with my own personal stuff, but acknowledge that it's there.
Yeah.
So I think that's the way forward.
Absolutely. I touched on there about not planning too far ahead. I think it's quite right at the moment. But one of the things was interesting to know is kind of how important strategy is, because that's not so much planning content, it's kind of more the overall. So kind of how important do you think strategy is for small businesses?
Absolutely, Kate. I would say one of my best-selling kind of products, if you like, is my digital marketing strategy. You need to look at things as a whole. I always say that I'm special. My thing that I love is social media, but I've got all aspects of digital media covered as well. And I think of it like a Swiss Army knife. You need to be able to use all the tools available to you, because, for example, I've got a client whose social media didn't get particularly great results, not because of anything that I was doing wrong, or it just didn't really work for his business. So we invested his budget in Google Ads, etc., and that went really well. So I suppose it's having a good eye. I can look at a business and have a good idea of what's going to work. But there is always going to be an element of trial and error. And if something doesn't work, it's not being disheartened about that and realizing that you just need to try something else. And everything's got to be like dovetail together, because if you've got certain like look and tone of voice on your website, and then another one on Facebook, and then another one on Twitter, and then in person, when you're talking about your business, you're giving a completely different brand and tone of voice. So it's really important to make sure everything syncs together. and there's a thread that goes through it all. I might be a little bit more humorous maybe, or lighthearted on perhaps my Instagram account or my Facebook account than I am on LinkedIn, but the message I think is still the same. And I think as long as it comes from you and it's authentic, then it should be relatively easy to do. But yeah, a strategy would involve looking at what times and kind of days your audience is looking, where your audience is. I come across a lot of people who just post and pray. It's like, oh, 9 o'clock at night, I forgot to post today, sling something up. And that's not going to work. It's very rarely going to work anyway, unless that's when your audience is there. So you're actually better off, I find, with social media, posting less posts, but at the right times. So I would probably advise, if you want your social media to work, to post at least once a day on each platform. I tend not to post much at weekends because for my business it doesn't work. So I tend to do like 6 times a week. You don't want to be doing less than 3, but it's better to do 6 quality posts than 600 rubbish ones.
Of course,
So, yeah.
No, it's interesting there. I mean, one of the things I was going to ask you about actually is obviously social media is such a big thing for many businesses, and there is quite a number of platforms out there. And I know this is very much a general question. Is it better to maybe master one platform rather than spread yourself too thin over, should we say, 4 or 5?
Absolutely. Although I would say 2 really rather than 1. It depends on your business. So, and again, this is a generic answer. I don't have a personal Twitter account because Twitter for my business I did, and I've never once, I've made a few connections, but I feel that because it's my business, my Twitter account needs to be perfect, and I can't keep it perfect. So yeah, and also I was talking yesterday, I did a little bit of a catch up with some of my contacts about getting the best out of Instagram. For example, one of my clients is a health and safety consultancy that specialises in social housing. There's no point them being on Instagram. Twitter and LinkedIn is where it's at for them. And I suppose that's part of the strategy. And when I'm strategizing with a client, we look where's best for you to be. And yeah, it's very rare that someone would need to be on all of them unless they're a massive company with a social media team, because there's a lot of things happening on TikTok at the moment. I kind of thought it would be a bit of a flash in the pan and go away, or just be for teenagers, but I think that certain clients and I are going to have to embrace it. But it's better to do one platform really well. And that's why I say I don't even have a Twitter account, because it's better to have no account than a dormant account. So yeah, and it doesn't even it does really vary business by business, but don't do 5 platforms badly, do 1 or 2 really well.
No, absolutely. Now, the other thing kind of connected to that really is there's quite a number of, I'm sure you will know about all the different tools and things out there to help people with their social media posting, whether it's Hootsuite or Buffer and things like that. Is there any particular ones that you either like, think are useful for people, are helpful, or what's your general thoughts on those type of?
Yeah, I've worked on loads, and I've also worked on some quite because when I've worked for the corporates, they've had a big, huge like content management system, and the one that I liked, I think it's called Kuster, but that's thousands of pounds. So for me personally, you can schedule your Facebook and Instagram posts through Facebook Scheduler. I don't like Facebook Scheduler for Instagram, so I use Planoly for Instagram. There's a free version and there's a paid version. I use the paid version because you need to put your hashtags in your first comment, and with the free version you can't do that. I think it's about, I can't remember how much it is, but it's about £10 a month. So it's not, for one business, it's not massively expensive. To me, it's a good investment. And it means that in times that I can plan quite far ahead, like a week in advance, I can sit down on a Sunday or Monday and plan for the week. For Twitter and LinkedIn, I like Hootsuite, which is, some people think Hootsuite's a bit old school now, but I really like it for those two. It's nice and simple, and it's reliable. It doesn't double post, which some schedulers do. So there would be Facebook. I would just use Facebook. Instagram, I would use Planoly, and Twitter and LinkedIn, I would use Hootsuite. My other favorite tool, which isn't a scheduling tool, is Canva. I love Canva. I do so much on it. I think it's fantastic. Everybody should master Canva for the business, because it just gives such a good and slick look. I don't, designers must hate it because it takes them work away from them. But so they would be my things. I used to use a lot of apps to research hashtags. Now I just research within Instagram itself, because it will tell you what hashtags have what kind of following, and it will suggest other similar hashtags as well. So I just use that. But I used to use Hashtagify, hashtags for you or something. But yeah, they would be my kind of go-to, which it seems complicated running several different scheduling tools. If it was to be one, I would probably just use Hootsuite.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned Canva there, because I think that's really something I use myself quite a lot. Now, I'm probably about as useless as anybody when it comes to designing things.
Yeah.
If someone kind of designed my templates, and then I can drag and drop,
Yeah,
the things that, then Canva's to me a fantastic tool for that.
yeah, absolutely.
So the last thing I was going to ask you about actually is I think a lot of people, speak to a lot of small business people, they worry that they'll create some content, whether that's a blog or a video like this or something like that, and they kind of use it for once or twice, and then it kind of gets lost forever. Now, one thing I know, which can be very effective, is reuse of content and rehashing of it. Do you want to kind of explain what that is and how beneficial that can be?
Yeah, I did a post about this yesterday, so it's quite timely. It's like wringing every single last drop of use out of your content. So content that seems old to you in your business, if it's evergreen content, keep rotating it. If I write a blog, for example, for my website, for example, I've got one that's called the 7 B's of social, my 7 B's of social media. Other people have used that as a guest blog. It's been everywhere, but I can then pull it apart and make a series of posts about, here's my 7 B's of social media, day 1, day 2, day 3, and then I've got seven days worth of content there that I can keep using, and I probably go back to that every 6 months. There's also things that another one I've done about auditing your social media. I can then use parts of that, like the security thing. That's something I always say to everybody: who's got your passwords? Make sure you change them when you've given them to somebody and they're not working with you anymore. But yeah, you can get a blog and you can use the link to the blog when it's a new blog, and then cut it down into individual posts. You can post it again with a different picture. And also I do something each month, which is a content prompts for the month. And so things like it's Mental Health Awareness Week, it's Star Wars Day, that kind of thing. So it's for my followers and my customers to have an idea. But next year, when it's 2021 and I come to do those content prompts for the month again, then they'll just need a little bit of an update, because these are annual events. So already next year I will have 12 blogs. I'll have a blog every month ready, and a lot of content is evergreen. So you just need to keep rotating that. the link is in my Instagram bio at the moment. The branding photographer Marianne Scott did a really good blog post about how to kind of repurpose your branding photos at the moment, by like cropping or doing a close-up or changing the filters. Because I think that's quite important to have regular images done of yourself and your business. But at the moment, obviously, I can't have those done. So that's I see the links in my Instagram bio at the moment on how to do that. And that's a really interesting way of getting the most out of your photos. So yeah, you don't necessarily have to have new stuff. Like if you're a product-based business, I was speaking to somebody in beauty yesterday, and I was saying, because she can't get any new content, I was saying, well, why don't you post a picture of your favorite nails that you've ever done, or the first set of nails you did when you very first started doing nails? Do some throwbacks. There's no harm in doing that at all.
So absolutely, yeah. So basically, as a business or as an individual, your content is it's there all the time. You're just adding to it. You're not replacing it all the time. Which, the longer you've been going, you should have more and more content to use. And so thanks for the example on Instagram as well. Now it's probably a really good time to ask this question, which is my last one. Is if anyone wants to get in contact with you, Claire, where's the best way to do that?
Oh, so you can get in touch with my website, which is Sunshine Digital Media, or Facebook is Sunshine Digital Media. Instagram is, let me just check, I think it's got an underscore in it. So yeah, or on LinkedIn, it's just Clare Clifford. So yeah, it's Claire. On Instagram, it's Claire without an I, underscore Sunshine underscore Digital. I would say Instagram's probably my favorite platform. And just a little bit, I find Facebook and LinkedIn are better for actual tangible businesses, but Instagram is much better for exposure.
Absolutely.
That's a little bit of my opinion there, but yeah, get in touch and ask any questions.
Perfect, thank you, Claire. And obviously, if you can't find Claire for whatever reason, get in contact with us at Northern Affinity. We do have all Claire's details, and so thank you very much for your time, Claire, especially coming on bank holiday as well, which has been really appreciated. Can get back to enjoying the sun, and thank you for your time. And if anyone wants to contact either Claire or myself, please do so. I'm sure we're happy to answer any questions that you have.
All right, take care.
Thank you very much for your time, Claire.
Bye.